What's up, Pocket Dudes? Welcome to Pokemon Go to the Movies, Episode 2. I'm your host, Dan Video Games, and with me is Bob.
I have a Mew card.
Oh, that's very cool. From GigaBoots, Dr. Aggro.
You guys remember Ecto Cooler?
I do. I also remember Surge. Chris Wolfhart.
Is Mr. Mime Ash's dad?
And Shiba Yagato.
Zapdos' noise is the sound I make when I can't log in to play my awfully addicting online multiplayer game.
That fucking sound.
I love it. I can just voice Zapdos whenever I want.
It's like, well, what should we do? Just get this person to scream.
I just need to walk 10 feet away from my mic and scream, and it works.
Zapdos is the original Guzzlord.
It's like if you needed a cartoon sound effect for when someone hits their finger with a hammer, that's what you would get. But it's like the only thing that sound it makes.
The voice director was like, all right, here's a clip from Tom and Jerry. Do that.
To address an earlier concern, Mr. Mime is not Ash's stepdad. He's just the dad who stepped up.
Okay, thank you.
Mad respect to Mr. Mime, then.
Well, as I mentioned before, we watched Pokemon the Movie 2000, specifically The Power of One, not Pikachu's Rescue Adventure. We are here to talk about the movie, recap it real quick, give some commentary on some especially noteworthy moments, and then move on to our various scores and metrics that we measure these movies by. It's all very scientific around here, just like Oak drawing on a sketch explaining proteins in the ocean. So let's get started. Slowking.
Yeah. Southern Islands Japanese card set represent.
Yeah, we get this great opening shot of Slowking just standing on this cool ancient structure and, some monologue talking about don't piss off the three gods if you do it. Man, it's just you're going to get wrecked. Absolutely wrecked. And it then cuts to inside this amazing airship.
Yeah,
I'm this thing.
Really curious, like going forward, how many of these movies will specifically feature the JRPG villain with the Sky Fortress?
I know,
I can think of at least 4.
I'm willing to bet it's like 40% minimum.
This thing was the most, it's the year 2000, y'all. We make cartoons with computers object I have ever seen.
Not only that, but this movie has the most money of any of these. Because the first Pokemon movie made like $200 million on a $5 million budget. So they were like, give them $30 million. So you have a lot of shit in this movie that's like, what do we do with $30 million?
I guess like, we have a shot of them tumbling down the side of the giant CGI flying ship.
Like they put that thing in front of so much painted background.
Uh-huh.
Let's just keep putting this dude inside Future Boy Conan machine.
They're like, how are we going to use this money? And they're like, what if instead of using Pokeballs, this cracked out mofo used square hoops?
Wait, does he have Hoopa?
I was wondering that. It seemed likely at first when they were hoop-shaped hoops, but then they went square, and I'm like, I don't think there's a square hoop god.
You think he had triangles ready for Articuno?
He did.
I have to assume.
No, he made them hexagons, so it's a snowflake shape. See, he's got a whole idea on this, and I can respect the vision.
Yeah, he seems like the type of guy who would explain his vision to me over an excruciating dinner.
I'm surprised we didn't get that scene. He captured everybody.
I thought we were heading there after he accidentally
I know it was like
them.
It really seemed like he was like, I didn't expect to capture these children, but let me teach them about libertarianism.
Let's put one of them in an evening gown and have a creepy scene over dinner.
Well, that would require the villain doing anything.
Ash, do you know what the word indoctrinate means?
Yeah, it kind of feels like he just goes away.
He does. He has no arc.
Like he's not consciously defeated by the protagonist. It's just like, oh, I wasn't as hot shit as I thought. I guess I'll leave the movie now.
Yeah, I'm shocked Lugia didn't end up like having a scene where it just beats the shit out of this man.
Right?
Yeah, I kept expecting like the scene of him like at a control panel and then it explodes like Star Trek and we just never see him again.
Like Lugia just wrecks the airship and there's a speech about technology versus nature, and then the movie ends. And instead it's just like, and then that guy appreciated his rare trading Mew card.
He's literally like, well, time to go do all this shit again.
Here I go again.
Yeah, I do wonder if he's in anything else, because he's like, okay, I guess it's time for step 2, and I'm like, no, you're never showing up again. I don't care what you think.
The dub thinks he'll show up again, and then in the sub, he's just holding his card silently.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty different there. I appreciate he has a Colress vibe to him. He's got like some 5th gen scientist vibes more so than, 1st gen.
He does.
He does have like weird Team Plasma energy. I suppose it was inevitable for that shit to like feed back in eventually.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really fitting though for this to happen now because they got Stoutland in early. Seriously.
It's unfortunate that he devolved.
He just became a dog at some point. It was fucking weird.
No, it's okay. That's the regional variation. We're gonna get into
It's just an island chief. That's the regional variant. Human. God, that's horrifying. Oh, God.
Look, their weird hair is part of what gives those people their psychic abilities.
Ooh, nice. Wait, where was Slowking's weird hair?
It's inside of the
crown?
Yeah, shit. What is that Pokemon on his head?
Does it even have an actual unique name?
No, it is literally like in the lore. It's
Cloyster?
Is it a cloister?
Is that right? I want to think it is.
It can't be because it's just gray.
It's so small. It's
Oh, no,
like
it
a
changes
dead cloister baby. Our Poke scientists are getting on this right now.
It evolves when holding a King's Rock, so...
Is that a King's Rock? All the King's Rocks are just
I mean,
tiny, shitty crowns.
The rock goes on his head and makes him a king, I guess.
There you go.
Shelder. It's a shelder.
Okay.
I try not to consider how the Slowking thing works, because it seems like once one of these other species bites onto them, they look totally different.
Yeah, I mean it's a completely symbiotic relationship where the shelder gets mobility and the ability to speak, and the Slowking gets cognition.
But yeah, just blitzing through the events of the movie real quick. We got that absolutely insane flying machine. It's got ice cannons on it. We have really cool visualization of the battle between this dude on his ship and Moltres, where he's just like, checkmate in sight. In Japan. In America, they finish the entire battle, and then he goes, it's like chess. And we're like, we know! There's a chessboard!
But does the 5-year-old watching know?
It's one of those things that I always have to remember, because it went away a lot, but in older stuff you still get it where it's like, not a lot of people play chess in Japan. So a really this is an aside, but there's like a thing in Deadly Premonition where it's like the puzzle is to know what the pieces are, because that's actually kind of a thing, obscure. So you get all these scenes of like, this guy's smart, so he plays chess, and then the board is just nonsense. It's like, we don't fucking know, or it's not a chessboard at all. The guy's just constantly like running his thumb on a rook or something. It's like, he must be really smart.
Jesus.
That's a worldwide fascination. This person's smart, they play chess. Like, this person's a criminal, they play Overwatch. Parallels.
I like that this guy actually did bring a gun to catch Pokemon.
Yeah, it makes sense.
It did lead us to another thing that I have to assume is in most of these movies, which is one of the characters going, the way you capture Pokemon is evil and wrong, unlike the way we capture them, which is base.
Yes, anything other than the officially licensed Pokeball
Yes.
is copyright infringement and therefore immoral.
I mean, he does like wrap them in coils and electrocute them, basically.
Bob, you don't know what goes on in those balls.
No, we don't.
But I don't hear them screaming from inside it, so it must be humane.
But you do see them struggle to escape every time you catch them.
Yeah, true. But it's very funny because Misty, one of these fucking figureheads, just goes, the way you talk like Pokemon are just things to collect. And I'm like, my guy, have you seen the motto of the actual
Right.
fucking like franchise?
First one is you're not supposed to make them
They
fight.
took that away eventually.
This one's you're not supposed to collect them. I really hope the next one isn't you're not supposed to breed them.
The fucking 90s Dave Thomas comes out and he's like, are you sure you need that many fries? It's like, motherfucker, you sell a biggie. Don't sit here and lecture me.
Yeah, that was something only in the dub. In the sub, she's just complaining that he's captured them in these wire frames, Pokeballs.
Yeah. It's just like, what is with you? This is weird. You're weird.
Sir, we have to keep to the marketing. we can't sell this.
Misty's a brand manager. She's just coming up and she's like, oh, this just isn't on message for us. I'm sorry. You're going to have to take away the weird torture sphere, not because it's inhumane, but because it's just not on brand. But yeah, you know, he kidnaps Moltres after that, using the power of the hoop god, which is so hilarious. And I think this is a really great time as he talks about the 3 legendary birds like Freezer, that we can appreciate the localization team for the original Pokemon.
Yep.
I feel like Articuno and Zapdos pretty good compared to Freezer.
Thunder.
Yeah. I'm glad they just didn't take the names directly. Anyway, apparently this is Orange Islands. Who knew? Tracy Sketchit detected.
Boo.
Oh, no, it's okay. He has one good moment later
Boo!
on.
I was so upset. I was so upset when I had to see him. I'm like, okay, he's gonna start reading us his manifesto.
At least he
It's
doesn't do
almost worth it
anything.
for one
He
bit.
does. He does nothing.
Yeah,
It's great.
I was gonna say Shibuya's right. It's almost worth it for one moment where it was later. Let's see. I'm a girl and his friend, but I'm not his girlfriend. And then he pokes at a friend to go, "Are you talking about me?"
Yeah, he literally heard a woman saying that a man was never going to be a potential romantic interest for her, and he was like, "That's my cue.
That's me. Hello.
Gotta jump in for the assist."
Fuck.
Yeah,
I think that alone justifies his existence here.
that was pretty good. I hope anytime I ever have to see Sketchin again, which I don't think I will, that is the role he plays.
Maybe on a wanted poster.
The entire ending is him just standing around cock blocking.
What a great guy. But yeah, so we get our opening montage. We get some music. You know, We All Live in a Pokemon World is the U.S. Poke rap that plays right now. It's pretty good. And in Japan, they have a tonally different song that when the scene cuts away from them with their Pokemon surfing and having fun next to them on a speedboat, it cuts to Team Rocket, and the Japanese song just goes, "Those are my rivals." These guys suck. And I'm just like, wow, this is great. That American rap should have taken a moment to make fun of Team Rocket. But yeah, weather gets crazy, music ends, Rocket starts freaking out. Then we head to the main island of the movie. I could not catch the name easily. It is Shamui?
Shamudi.
Yeah, there's a T. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I heard it as Djibouti at least a couple times.
Oh,
and I was like,
the third time I heard Djibouti and I lost it. I was like, that must be a dub joke or fucking what?
I think we just completely misheard it, but I think it's Oak. The way he says it, it sounds like Djibouti.
I would like
I'm all about Djibouti.
Jesus Christ. I would like to state about this storm that the immediate panic of all of their water types is kind of disappointing after all of the other Pokemon trainers Shad water types in the first movie, getting them through that giant killer hurricane.
Well, there was a strong current underground and it was cloudy, so they all start freaking out.
It is weird how both movies so far have been like, Ash should die at sea.
I wonder how we got into that medical condition he may or may not be in.
I also think that Team Rocket was born way too late. They missed their real calling, which is dying testing the first submarine. Because they're basically in this movie.
Yeah.
That submarine is great.
Yeah, it is.
They will still do it, Chris. Don't worry.
It also raises the question, you know, it's a known fact, it's a common thing, it's even a meme, but I just all over again had to ask myself, man, how dumb are Magikarp?
Yeah.
I mean, every single Pokedex entry is about how
much
dumb
they
are.
suck. Yeah.
Right?
No, it's like it's the only Dex entry that literally reads 6 times over, it deserves to die. Its continued existence is a blight on humanity.
That explains why Gyarados are always so fucking pissed, because if you don't know, Magikarp and Gyarados are based on the myth of the carp swimming up the river and jumping over the dragon gate and turning into a dragon. So it basically was given sentience and is now pissed that it has sentience.
It's powered by cringe.
It's like, no, let me go back. That was better.
Slowking and Gyarados, the two reactions to learning how to think.
Let me go back. That was better. I'm like, what is he, an alcoholic now? He's like, I don't want to think. Please.
I have self-awareness now. This is the worst. Let me go back.
Why am I not a dragon tie?
But the person steering the boat is like, whoa, we're way off course. We're in Shamooti. We're at the center of the Orange Islands. And I'm like, oh, shit, we're like in between first and second. Again. Even though the legendary Lugia is the focus of this movie.
And also, woman steering the boat, her name is Marin. She is one of the best random movie character designs in the series, and she disappears halfway through this movie, and I was very sad.
I was upset
is
because I didn't
unfortunate.
catch her name, and she disappeared halfway through this movie. I'm like, Jesus. But yeah, Rocket makes a couple jokes and then fucking dies by smashing into Rock.
Yeah, they have carp insurance. It's great.
It reminded me of like an Austin Powers movie where like where it's there because they're like, oh no, we're about to crash, but there's still like 5 minutes before they hit the rock wall.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's like you can't course correct.
No.
It's
No,
just
they're not
over, I
steering
guess.
anymore. They've just given into their fates.
I'm sorry. You're really giving them a lot of faith, assuming this thing was built to steer at all. It is just Magikarp shaped and it goes wherever it goes.
I mean, they're in a herd of Magikarp tearing them into this wall. They're doomed.
The act of malice from these Magikarp. It looks like us, but it is not us. Kill it.
Yes.
Weather's going crazy, of course. We cut to Ash's mom in a garden with Mr. Mime. Sorry, Ash's stepdad. And they're growing some vegetables. It's getting really crazy weather-wise. It's absolutely nuts. And Oak just comes up to be like, yo, this weather, right? Can you let me in your house?
Doesn't he call her by her first name?
Yes, her name's Delia.
It was like weird. I'd never heard it
If
before.
I was Ash's mom, I'd be fucking pissed because those tomatoes are fucked.
I know, right? It's like,
started
oh, it's
snowing.
raining. Oh, it's snowing. God, this is awful. And then we get the Diglett March. Do you think we're going to get a Wiglet March? That would be some absolute Cthulhu tier shit.
If instead of March of the Bulls, it's the March of the Wiglets, I'll scream.
Oh, no.
They're just rampaging through the city.
God, I don't want to see a bunch of Wiglets.
You're just trapped in a narrow city street as that comes at you.
But this scene is really good. It shows Mr. Mime putting in the work, anticipating Delia's needs.
It's very considerate and sensitive. That is true.
It had been so long since I'd heard Delia Ketchum speak. Like, I didn't realize that was the same voice actor
I know.
Yep.
as Ash when I was a
Yep.
kid.
It's the same
I just
thing
thought,
here.
wow,
Wait, it
this is
is?
really good cast, because I didn't understand that women voiced young boys when I was a child. So I was like, wow, this is really good casting. They sound super alike, but are clearly different people.
Yeah, I literally went through the same thing watching this. Oh, God.
It's extra funny because I just hear Manuela from Three Houses. Because that's also her.
Yeah.
And I'm just like,
See,
all right.
I hear Tsukasa Okino from 13 Sentinels.
That's fair.
Oak says some shit about something has gone terribly wrong with the nature. And then we fade to Pikachu doing the less than face.
He had that fucking face on the whole movie.
He was
like,
not
even in the upbeat opening, he was like, the sea.
the Pokemon can sense it, aggro.
And I'm like, okay, Pokemon, they're like animals. They're more in tune with nature. All of them? Are they all in tune with nature?
They're all in tune with the vibes, and the vibes are atrocious.
Only first geners.
Is Magnemite in tune with nature?
I would assume, yeah.
Yeah, magnetism is part of nature.
I mean, given the electricity,
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
I get it.
It all makes sense. How do Magnemite work? But yeah, the cast lands into the fucking Shamoody Island. The locals are wearing bird outfits. I'm thinking of Metroid because I'm a broken person. Marin knows the locals, Carol, and is introduced to Carol's younger sister, Melody, who has to do the festival festivities this year, where she plays the role of, I don't think they gave it a name, did they?
I think they just called it the Island Maiden.
Yeah, she was the festival
Yes.
maiden.
The
Island Maiden.
festival maiden, where she has to play her instrument, do the speech, and explain everything. But she doesn't seem that into it until Ash is here.
She rolls up like Judy fucking funny.
Yeah, she does. Oh my god.
Oh my
Broken.
Jesus Christ!
I was just imagining all this, but they're Floridians.
Yeah.
So like you go to some cursed town in Florida and they have on like the tribal masks
This
and
is what
everything.
Key
And
West
this is our
is.
Yeah,
this is our
what Key West is.
Yeah,
my guy.
100%. This is what Key West is.
And then in the middle of a hurricane, they're just like, nah, you can do our fucking traditional dance tomorrow. Fuck it. You're going to Cuba. It's fine.
You can stay. No one dies in a hurricane in Key West. And it's just like, why did the tone change from that local person halfway through that sentence? I don't understand, but I'll stay here and keep spending my money.
So I don't know if it happens in the sub, but in the dub, this scene ends with Melody knowing Misty's name for no reason.
Yeah, I noticed that. There's a couple of places where I'm just like, you were never introduced. Why do you know who this person is?
At least when Slowking does it, it seems like a neat trick in the dub.
Yeah.
Sup, Ash? Ah!
Well, he knows the legend.
My big problem with Melody is like from the moment she shows up, there's this angle of her like on the entire right side of the screen, and she's just like cracking her neck 4 times in like 2 sentences. And I'm like, girl, get some help. Go to a chiropractor or something, please.
She has a really bad neck from playing too much Overwatch. She's just hunched over her desk all day. What? She's like, I had to stop queuing up to come here for the stupid festival. God.
What was this culture going to do if the storm had not washed up a Pokemon trainer?
Well, okay, so
Don't worry about
Find some 5-year-olds.
at the other dinner tables, and this really is me filling it in because as a Floridian, this is just how I felt, were the other trainers who were just tourists. So one of them would have been the chosen one if Ash didn't show up.
he does have this line where he's like, relax, kid, it's just for the tourists.
Yeah, he's
Which,
like,
which
I'm
makes
just
me
reading a
think that
script.
nobody actually believes this. And it's
Yeah.
like,
Right.
oh fuck.
Yeah.
A shout out to the weird out of place dub joke about sexual disease.
Yeah.
Yes. And then what was it? One moment.
Oh, and then I said she has crabbies, and they all
Yeah.
start laughing.
Oh wait, that's what it was. It was no, but I have crabbies. Yeah, no, I appreciate that genuinely. The localized script really just keeps shoving in lines where they're just like, there's nothing here. It's just a void. But this encounter between Carol, Melody, and Ash, and Misty, unfortunately, is just this moment of, I'm going to kiss Ash. Melody kisses Ash. Misty freaks out. And now we have the arc for the whole movie. Are you his girlfriend? Are you a sister?
No, here's a 35-page thesis about how I'm not his girlfriend. I will bring this up again unprompted 6 hours from now.
And then Melody just keeps going L plus ratio plus you're his girlfriend.
We cut to the dinner. Misty's mad that Melody thought she was Ash's girlfriend or sister. Ash sounds genuinely confused when people go, Ash on stage, that's Melody. And he goes, that's Melody? And I'm like, man.
But she's not wearing glasses and she let her hair down.
She's wearing something different. How can you tell that's her? Says boy who never changes his clothes ever.
I know, right? He's
Hey,
just
it's
not used
not
to that.
Ash's fault. He's just has the same DNA as everybody who was in a teen comedy from 1985 to 2005. It's like, she took off her glasses?
Buh? Then in the Japanese script, she calls him Satoshi-sama and tells him to go get the 3 items and
Does she
bring
do it in that octave?
Satoshi-sama! Dosta! Yeah, that's how the actual dialogue went. In fact, I dubbed it. But yeah, get the 3 items, Bring them back here, and I play the flute.
Which I want to be very clear about this part of the movie. She is playing an ocarina with a weird handle on it, which is cool.
Fucking rules.
She's
neat.
She is like Ocarina of Time came out in 1998. This movie hit the US in 2000. She is playing an ocarina and she sends that bitch to go get 3 spiritual stones.
Yeah, no,
to put in the
100%.
shrine.
It is really great, really on the nose, and yeah, the Ocarina came out in 98. This was made in 99. Pokemon the Movie 2000, a film from 1999.
No, nobody has ever had more of a "you gonna eat that" mentality than the people who have to write the movie versions of anime shows.
Yes. I like the US dub joke of, do I get to wear a costume? And she goes, nope, it's just a come as you are thing. And he's like, oh. Ash was like, I want to dress up and be festive.
Like, she flipped his pro tag switch. She's like, quest!
Hey, Misty, you want to come? No, get yourself a girlfriend. And then Pikachu runs off jealous, I guess.
She was like, if you want someone to do whatever you want, whenever you want, get yourself a girlfriend. And I'm like, God damn, Misty, set the gender back 15 years.
Jesus Christ.
Have you seen? It's not her fault. Have you seen her fucking sisters?
I actually have not. One moment. I'm just going to Google with safe search off Misty's sisters.
What a beautiful moment for all of us.
Come on, let me. Oh, right, them.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, here are my sisters. 3 offensive stereotypes about women.
Nah, it's cool. They make this face.
I have to do their job because they won't.
Why are they the totally spies?
I know. I was like, don't say it, Dan. Don't. That's just damage. So thank you, Shibuya, for leaping on the sword.
You're welcome.
See, I immediately go to the Sailor Scouts.
Yeah, that's healthier,
That's
probably.
also fair. This is the generational gap at work, I'm telling you.
I'm just sitting there sweating. Don't say totally smart. Say literally anything else. They look like their hairs are flavored like Starburst. I don't know. Fuck, what was that? Moves on. Okay, we all learned about Misty's sisters. Anyways, we get to Team Rocket. They're out in the ocean. Keep in mind, Pikachu ran off. Ash chased after Pikachu. They're going to go on an adventure. They get to the boat. Rocket's paddling their broken-ass Magikarp boat, and Ash's friend's boat, Marin, comes flying at them. And I'm like, this is it. This is how they die. Every 10 seconds of this film, it's like, this is the end.
We need to keep like a Team Rocket death counter where it's like, they died this time, they died this time, they died this time.
New category
See,
for the end of movies. Are Team Rocket still alive? Yes, no.
See, I think this supports the Ash is in a coma theory because Team Rocket just keep coming back, even though he literally sees them get like pushed through a wire screen multiple times.
They are scientists trying to wake him up. They have the celled their way into his mind, and they're trying to get Pikachu, the object anchoring him into this dream, away from him.
I like the thought of Team Rocket's in the laser room from fucking Resident Evil movie. God. And then Ash just sees them again later, and they're fine. They're like, haha, I skid my knee a little. It's fine. Everything's fine. We get to Slow King. Slow King's back at the cave, and he's monologuing, and it's like, oh, we got this Slow King monologue. That's the opening seemed like it was going to be him, but when it cut to the ship, it ended up being that guy up there, at least in the dub.
Why can that Slow King talk?
Because that's cool.
I mean, that just happens in these movies sometimes.
He has knowledge. Why shouldn't he talk? The Meowth talks all the time.
Well, I was going to say,
Meowth just
Meowth.
decided he'd learn.
Yeah, he learned to talk and then gave up his ability to learn moves doing it. It was a cool story.
Yeah, and Slow King has a funny hat, so.
Yeah, Meowth has a very deep and progressive message about his arc. Meanwhile, Misty's like, hey, if you want a slave...
At least put them in the Pokeball.
No, get yourself a woman.
Like that was and put them in a Pokeball. Yeah.
Oh no! But yeah, I think is the next time we no they often just go for this movie. This Pokemon can talk.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite being Lucario, because it's just like I never once looked at Lucario and said that thing's gonna have the gift of speech, but That was
I mean,
foolish
I
on
could
my
say
part.
I could say the same for Pokemon in this movie.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we will.
People from the island are nervous about the weather. The chief, just a reminder, looks like Stoutland still. Misty's rolling out that line again of, he's a boy and a friend, but he's not my boyfriend. And that's when Tracy pops up to say the line. Say the line, Tracy. Is anyone thinking of me? No, Tracy.
Not even once.
Not even once.
They added that for the dub. He doesn't say anything in Japanese.
They add like it really feels like they're like, well, Brock's gone. We need to give him some Brock-like qualities, but because of his design, it just makes it have an entirely different tone.
The incredible foldable simp.
It's like no, Tracy. I don't want to see. I don't care that TikTok banned Andrew Tate. I really don't.
Oh my god.
But yeah, the source of the weather problems is, of course, Meltrez is taken out, and there's this balance or lack of balance about the three bird deities canceling each other out, and we show this via chessboard. Zapdos is getting more yellow squares.
That's how chess works.
That is apparently how 3D space airship chess works. We cut to Ash's mom and Oak, as they usually do, I suppose, sitting on the couch in that living room watching the news together. And Oak gets a call from Professor Ivy. Pokemon are going nuts. Brock runs around in the background. Goodbye, Brock. It was nice seeing you in this film.
He hasn't been divorced yet.
The boat's rudder on the ship, Marin ship, gets knocked off entirely. They crash land onto one of the other islands, landing on the rocks. Pikachu runs off. Ash is just like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, that boat crashing scene actually looks really great.
It does.
Amazing.
Mm-hmm.
This movie has a lot of, I mean, like I said, it has the most money, and you can see it in most scenes.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, this looks really fucking expensive.
I'm sure the next film will look just as expensive. Misty, Tracy, and Carol come on a separate speedboat. Misty says some shit about not being afraid of the water because she comes from a water gym.
Funny. She basically says, yeah, my house had a pool, so I'm not afraid of a hurricane.
I know.
It's really sad how Misty refused to evacuate when the hurricane hit and just died in her home.
I know. That's all I could think
Yeah,
about.
she's the average Floridian.
That's the Floridian. I'm just biting my way through a leather belt, trying to not choke on my tongue as I hear this bitch say this shit.
It'll be a couple inches of water, not a big deal.
It's like I'm never afraid out in the ocean because I only know Gen 1 Pokemon.
Yeah, I'm going insane. I'm like, this tourist energy is too much. I'm getting so triggered right now. I need to move on. That speedboat crashes onto the rocks, and it's just like, oh man, this is not good. We have two completely surfaced boats just stuck on land.
Oh my god, I'm sorry, I forgot. Yeah, that's the scene where like Ash like fucks off because Pikachu runs off, and Marin's like, okay, have fun. Starts making coffee and got like a bag of chips. She's like, I'm gonna wait this out.
She's just inside the boat, just hanging out.
The tide come in eventually. This is also my home.
She's like,
I don't have anywhere
movie.
else to be.
Oh, hey, look, relevant characters. What's up? Oh, no, okay, bye.
Yeah, and then the Japanese script, it's like, oh, thanks for rescuing me. Do you need help? Yes. But they're like, no, it's fine. And then they pull out these two ripcord-like handle controls to yank to have a cloth sail come out of the speedboat, and it flies onto the stairs. It just starts going up it. And I'm like, this is insane.
Fucking
They
rules.
put the budget in all the right spots. This shit rules.
Ash is running towards the shrine still. Rocket is lying on the ground, just looking at him and saying some shit. Ash grabs the orb off the pedestal. He's got, which orb was it? The lightning orb, right?
It's fire first.
Yes,
It's fire first, right? Because they go to the fire island. He grabs the fire orb. Rocket appears behind him, starts doing their shtick, and he's just like, I'll have to catch this on video. I'm like, what?
Cancel my subscription. I'm over your issues.
So he dislikes their video, and then the speedboat crashes up over the stairs onto Team Rocket. They get knocked to the side. Melody complains at Ash for leaving the party. Misty says, "See what I deal with?" Melody says, "Oh, you do it because you like him so much." And Team Rocket dialogue is absolutely hilarious in Japanese, because as they talk about relationships and how complicated they are and how it's like, you know, you're a little too young to have it explained to you. And then James goes, "Even we still don't talk about it."
I liked the part in the dub where James looks directly in the camera and says, "I suck dick."
Yeah, that's an interesting but bold choice. I respect it.
He's so precious.
What a trooper.
Zapdos is above screaming.
Like
God,
usual.
it's
I
so
love it.
bad.
I love it.
Oh,
So
it's
funny
immaculate.
bad, though.
It's giving me flashbacks to Banjo-Kazooie.
You're making me want to cut like a Banjo-Kazooie version of Zapdos' screams, and this is dangerous.
As it just fills in the text box.
Immaculate, no notes.
Man, I'm excited for Guzzlord to show up in one of these movies. Hopefully that happens. Because Zapdos is funny. It doesn't hold a candle to Guzzlord.
I mean, we always have Reggie Rock, even if Guzzler doesn't show up.
That's true. The Reggies are going to make me absolutely lose it. Anyways, we get Pikachu to Zapdos communication, which really looks like Pikachu getting shocked into having a cardiac arrest.
I love when Pikachu shocks Zapdos and it makes a bullet ricochet noise.
That's hilarious. And then Meowth just goes, "They're communicating," and even though it just looks like they're attacking each other, and it's like, oh, well, what are they saying? And Pikachu saying, "What are you doing here on Fire Island?" And Zapdos said, "This is my island now." Then we cut to the airship. Zapdos is pissed, starts attacking the airship with crazy amounts of electricity, which is darkened and blurred. And I go, "That's right. This is post the Porygon episode." And the airship shoots out square hoops from the square hoop god, Square Hoopa. Oh man, could you imagine if Hoopa had forms and they were just like Square Hoopa?
Others and ripped. Yeah.
That would be awesome.
I mean, like a lot of forms, not just the one where he's scary as fucking hell. But yeah, I'm just sitting here watching the scene as he talks about how he's going after Articuno next after he gets Zapdos, and thinking about how I really appreciate the localization team for not naming that bird Freezer.
Yeah, watching with the subs of seeing like Ash freaking out about there being thunder here. And it's like, well, yeah, oh, he means the bird, not that there is thunder. Wow.
Yeah.
It's funny because there's like there's that angle of the Japanese names, and then in later scenes it's like the Japanese name is based on this word from a dead language, and I'm like, what?
Oh.
You sure upgraded?
The computer on the ship just goes, "Sorry to interrupt, sir, but we caught something else with the Zapdos." And he goes, "Something else?" And then apparently neatly captured in this tiny, well, large bird cage is our entire main cast who got sucked up with Zapdos, evidently.
And their boat.
And that's true.
Somehow the boat did not get caged.
Their boat doesn't have its own. Well, we don't know that the boat doesn't have its own cage. It's just not shown.
Right.
Then we get the speech from Misty going, "Why don't you put them in monster balls? What's wrong with you?" And he goes, "I'm a collector, not a trainer." And I'm like, oh, I like this guy. He's insane. We cut to a newscast about Djibouti Island. This was the time I heard Djibouti.
Same.
Okay, so I swear that guy just said Djibouti that one time. Anyways, they explained the situation there, how the Pokemon are all flying in. Oak and Ivy are on a chopper together, and they explained the plot of the movie. I love this scene where Oak is just like, "I can draw this for you. Let me explain science. So there are proteins underwater." And Ivy has this look of, "This is what I deal with. This is what I have to call my colleague."
This is the only other professor in the world.
She's not actually judging him. She's just on Valium, man. Have you heard her talk?
They call her Professor Ivy because she grows the weeds. It's fine.
Also, why is Ash's mom there? They just brought this fucking random woman into a war zone, basically.
Yeah, I do appreciate them eventually being like, no, seriously, who are you and why are you here? And she's like, that's my son.
Yeah, no, Delia
That's my
Ketchum
son.
was
That means
getting on
the-
that helicopter.
That
Yeah.
means the fire department needs to take me into the burning building. Because that's
She's
my
a white
son.
mother. She's not going to stop until she's in that copter.
Yeah, you didn't see it, but there was a scene like the Resident Evil 5 fight scene with Wesker on the back of the chopper. It's just Ivy and Oak trying to get her off the fucking chopper.
Mr. Mimes on the DL just like tweaking people's memories. Nobody even knows she's there.
Delia's like 5 minutes. That's all I'll need. I'm of the opinion Ivy's voice cast is wrong, but, you know, given the Valium theory, maybe it's spot on.
Doesn't but soon after say Pokémon.
It was her first time ever saying that.
Yes.
We got Slow King cut to him. He's out in the snow, just hanging out in a cave, just watching all the snow go past. So he goes, I could use pants in the US dub. Japanese, unimportant. Doesn't say anything noteworthy. Daylight breaks. Articuno's flying around, pissed because it is a bird in this film.
Yeah, these birds are unhinged in this movie.
They're straight up kaiju. It's great.
It makes them so much cooler, and I'm so mad the games never did them this kind of
I
justice.
know. I was thinking about that at one point in this, and then I went, well, I actually didn't really enjoy when they inserted those islands with Articuno on it in the Fire Red Leaf Green remake. But I do wish there was a cool, epic, like, structure to the playing around the 3 legendary birds.
It's fucked up. They did Pokemon Let's Go, but did not include, like, no, let's make the legendaries important. Like we started making them later.
Mm-hmm.
It would have been so
Instead,
good.
they just did nothing. I was real afraid they were going to turn into the shit from the Pokemon Adventures manga that happens when the villains get all 3 birds, which is they turn into this.
Oh,
yeah,
no.
I forgot about that.
I forgot about that.
They just get piled on top of each other.
What is this, a DMC2 boss?
Yeah, exactly. We have all these assets left over. Look at this new design I made.
That might be the dumbest Pokemon design I've ever seen.
Have you seen Type Null? Just a quick question. Type Null's a real, look at all these scraps we have left over Pokemon, and it's funny as hell.
I can hear people in the comments already screaming at you for that one.
I just think it's funny. I just love that they were like, what do we have to make this blanket? Well, we got all these disparate pieces of cloth. Here's Type Null. I enjoy it. I don't think it's a bad design, but it is an enjoyable design.
It is a little
about
goofy,
to
I'll
shove
admit.
everything together. There's a point, though. Anyway, Melody sees that the Legends Lab is on ship and wonders out loud, "Oh my God, is it happening?" It's like, does it not look like the end of days right now, Melody?
This is like a young teenager in Florida having to go, oh, fuck, is my religion real?
This is like if there was a specific passage in Revelations talking about this shit, and you've had to do like the nativity scene every year, and then suddenly the nativity scene is the key to all this, and you're like, okay, so how do I play this song again? Oh God.
Wait, what? Oh, I have to. Oh no. Articuno, being pissed as hell, wakens up Lugia. Lugia is underwater and just goes, "What the fuck's going on up there? What the hell's that about?" My notes are really good for this movie, except for this one line. So I'm going to have to ask my co-host. I wrote down the sentence, "The Pokemon attacks square hoops."
Yeah, they start trying
Yeah.
to free Zapdos.
Okay.
Yeah.
Pikachu starts
Oh, on
shocking
board
it,
the
and
ship,
then-
yes.
Yeah.
Which opens with Ash just like slamming his face into it initially. He just like runs into it and gets reflected off. And I'm like, what was your plan?
His plan was to use his fists.
That was his plan.
That was his plan.
That's, that's always his plan.
He doesn't try to punch it. He just runs into it and gets reflected
I mean,
off.
to be fair, you're criticizing him for that, but Weezing does the exact same thing 4 seconds later.
Weezing does the same thing, but worse because Weezing doesn't get back up.
Look, Ash was just using headbutt. We have to respect it.
There's a Japan exclusive shot here where Tracy Sketchit does chemistry math for the elements.
Yeah, I don't know why that needed to be cut.
It's a really insane thing, but I would have left it. It's really odd. He's just like, fire plus water separates H2 into H2, 2 hydrogen, 1 oxygen, and that equals flamethrower, and then it explodes.
they couldn't have Tracy Sketchit say even one more line.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's completely tonally dissonant to have Tracy Sketchit do something in this movie.
That makes sense.
Right?
Okay.
I hadn't considered that. You're right.
So there's an explosion. They escape the airship. There's a battle going on. The airship crashes onto the ice island. These birds are all screaming and pissed.
Yes.
If I reference a scene with the birds, just assume they're screaming and pissed unless listed otherwise.
I love that energy from them. Let's go.
They immediately forget about the airship and the guy who captured them. They're just like, you two fuckers.
I mean, the guy who captured them forgot he captured them. He just leaves them to do anything down there.
Main cast tumbles down the CG exterior of the ship because money. The ship crashes onto the ice shrine, and Ash just goes, ooh, ball.
It crashes into the thunder shrine.
Yes, thunder.
Yeah.
Every shrine's fucking frozen. It's so confusing.
No, I get it.
We get a 3-way battle between bird. I'm sorry, I'm losing it because I have to explain. So they get on the speedboat, which freed itself from the airship, and then gets caught on a water spout that takes it directly to the main island.
This speedboat is so powerful.
It is.
It survived being used as a land boat.
Yes.
Yeah, that was so crazy. I'm like, bitch, this is destroying that boat. What is wrong with you?
It's built different.
When they get to the main shrine where they put down 2 of the balls, Slow King's there, and in America, he just goes, Ash. Because he knows his name from the prophecy. And Ash gets understandably scared. He explains the whole, you got 2 of them. You need the third one. You need to go over there. If you look through the slot of the third one, you can see the third island. And he's like, oh my God, I got to go to the third island. Yet again, the 3 birds are pissed. They are spraying shit everywhere, and Ash looks up at all 3 of them shooting their elemental beams and shit and just goes, what if I was between all 3 beams? And just runs out to yell at them, and I'm like, no! We did this last movie!
Yeah,
Do not get there!
His memory's awakened, and he's like, wait, I know how to end the movie. What if I get between all 3 blasts?
I'll turn to stone, someone will cry, and we'll roll credits.
The rat living in your walls tries to stop the argument between your parents who are getting divorced and your mom's new boyfriend.
He's got a chance. He just has to talk to them in the right tone.
Electricity.
Ash is like, hey, don't you think you should calm down? And then they explode him. Lugia busts up out of the water, and he sounds like the ocarina thing. Oh my God. Him sounding like the ocarina was weird. I was like, oh, wait, I thought he talked in this movie. I don't remember him just sounding like the ocarina. Whoa.
I'm glad one of us remembered that he talked in this movie. Let me tell you, when I heard him speak, I felt as though someone had beat my head in.
Yeah, it's one thing I've never forgotten about this.
It has a weird energy. Real quick, though, I'm pretty sure that ocarina is like a piece of Lugia skull from like an earlier Lugia.
Oh my God.
But Lugia pops out and starts talking, and like I get some really bad vibes off of Lugia talking. Like, you remember that Perry Bible Fellowship comic where Poseidon tries to abduct a child?
Yes.
Like those vibes.
100%.
You are the chosen one, 10-year-old boy. Ride upon my back to adventure.
Yeah, it doesn't help that he sounds like a budget Robbie Belgrade, the person who voice acted Alucard, and he's just like, hello, child.
Yeah.
Yep.
The song has restored my strength.
We cut to the collector for 10 seconds for him to be hyped. Lugia tells them to calm down. It works about as well as you'd expect. They actually tri-beam Lugia. Not a fan. We cut to the chopper flying. Get various lines about the Ash legend in America. Meanwhile, in Japan, everyone just goes, hey, you should probably do it. You seem like you're capable of doing this, Ash. You should do it. He's right. You should do it.
The chosen one.
Our Pokemon trainer is here. That might as well be a chosen one, right?
Yeah. Melody's like, okay, well, if I play the Song of Lugia, that'll help. So they start playing the Song of Lugia, and Lugia goes, fucking thanks. These 3 suck and won't calm down. Anyways, let's go get that third treasure. Ash goes, I can do it. I'm the chosen one. But right now, I feel like I'm the frozen one.
Peak.
What a good one-liner.
It really is.
I love that boy.
Wind gusts insanely hard. That chopper from before that was flying up towards the island crashes onto the island. The chopper being busted open like this reminds me of a specific Quest of Horizon Frozen Wilds, a thing I felt I could never be reminded of. I was like, that's just gone from my brain, but here we are. Ash is sledding across the frozen ocean with Lizardon, Pikachu, Bulbasaur, and Squirtle, and also Lugia. He's having a cool moment until the birds do something really clever. They make an ice wall.
They shoot him.
They shoot him and make an ice wall and scream and are pissed. He's like, well, what am I going to do now? And then he looks back and Team Rocket's riding a life raft turned into a hovercraft, and they're just doing the cool monologue thing in America. It's original. In Japan, I think it's the usual.
Real quick, before Rocket shows up, like when Ash eats shit on that ice wall,
Yeah.
he has one of those beautiful idiot savant Ash moments, which are why this dipshit is the fucking Pokemon master, where everybody's going ass over tea kettle, and he whips out Charizard's Pokeball to keep his tail from going in the water.
I did not notice that detail.
I didn't notice it either.
Huh.
That's really good.
He pulls him in midair. It is clutch.
He
What
saved his life.
complicated relationship they have.
So the hovercraft flies up with Ash and everyone else over the ice wall. It goes through a cool ice cavern, and they get to the top to get the ice ball from the ice shrine. For the third time, according to my summary. The shrine's ice.
They're
then
all
it's-
the ice ball.
Yeah, they're all, you have to go collect all 3 Articuno balls.
He's
Articuno, Arctos, Arctic Trace. Let's go.
He's on a Zelda quest, but they're all the ice biome. It's very confusing.
And then you go to the third Jabu Jabu. Him grabbing that ice ball really pissed off the birds. I didn't realize this shrine had no ceiling. I assumed it was iced over on top. So when they cut to the slightly wider shot and the birds are just up there pissed, I was like, oh my God, that's terrifying.
Yep.
They start trying to get out, and James thinks he can just rip up the ice to escape, and then Pikachu's like, hey, here's an amazing idea. Climb up and run over it. They're like, oh my God, you're right.
He's so smart.
As they run up over this thing and start making their way out, Lugia goes, now that you have the treasure, you can ride me, because I'm an asshole. I could have flown you over here, but, that it was more fun to do that other thing.
The chosen one needs to put in at least a little work, I think.
Listen, kid, don't worry about it. It's for the tourists.
Team Rocket's trying to hold on to Lugia and then falls off, and I'm like, they're dead. They're just fucking dead.
No,
yeah.
no. I'm sorry, they don't just fall off. They agree to a suicide pact.
Yes,
to
they're
save
like,
the fucking world.
we need to die now.
They're like, oh my God, we're slowing Lugia down. The entire planet is fucked. No, we need to go down. Are you ready, gang? We're blasting off for the last time. Let's go, gamers. And then they just drop.
And as they fall off, they just keep sitting there. They're like, this is going to hurt. This is going to kill us.
It's so good.
And I'm like, are they going to slam into the ice? And they hit the water. And I'm like, that's still Arctic water right now.
Yeah.
Well, they were underwater for like 8 hours after their submarine crash. I don't think it mattered.
Right?
Because
They crawled out of the ocean from that crash like 6 hours later.
Ash aboard Lugia just goes, why are all the Pokemon here? And he goes, for the trailer.
Pokemon from all over the world from Kanto have come here to try to help.
Yeah, the others realized it wasn't a big deal, so they didn't show up.
That group shot is one of the funniest things because that low poly Vaporeon's eyes, it killed me. Like the spoilered image I have in chat. I love the Lickitung because he just looks like he's here, but he doesn't understand why. And then the Vaporeon is just staring up at, I think, Sky Jesus. I don't fucking know.
It's so good.
It's really good.
Lickitun's waiting for his mom to pick him up.
And it's like we don't really have that many Pokemon. Like this is only Gen 1. We don't have that many Pokemon of each type. Our montage of flying Pokemon's really gonna mostly be the Pidgey line.
Yeah. If you look closely, you can see Ho-Oh. Very upset that it is not the focus of this movie.
Yeah, I kept thinking the entire time, is this why everybody I know, except for like 3 people, say that Lugia is the better Gen 2 bird? Because it got a fucking movie and the better bird didn't?
I was going to say, Ho doesn't get a movie eventually, right? I feel like...
I don't think it does.
I feel like they could have written a really good script around that, though. Like Ash is at his house. He's just hanging out. Doorbell rings. He goes up. Ho-Oh's there and is like, do you want to catch me? He goes, nah, I'm good. And he just goes back to eating chips on the couch. But no, I honestly, I always liked Lugia more. I didn't see this movie when it came out. I saw it later.
Yeah, for pretty much the same for me. Like, wow, Lugia is like this cool mystical looking creature. Ho-Oh is a bird.
Wow, I have.
Ho-Oh's also a mystical creature. It's literally a phoenix.
I
Doesn't even look it.
I didn't see this movie when it came out because I really hated Lugia's design, and I still do.
We're really evenly split on this, Chris. You need to have a stance. They're both fucking stupid.
Yeah, I'm just gonna be the centrist.
How brave. But Lugia gets triangle hoop shot at it, gets kidnapped, and that crashes into the water. And I'm like, oh, this is crazy. This is great. This looks great. Lugia, letting go of Ash, just falls deeper into the ocean and goes, I failed. No.
Oh, no.
He knows in this moment that will be the collector's play of the game. And he will have to watch it again in a few minutes. There's a moment of Melody being like, hey, you should go take care of Ash. He can't do this alone. He's probably drowning right now. And
he needs someone who lived next to a pool to help.
In Japan, Misty goes, he's my burden. And in America, I believe, it's in America, she goes, he's my burden. In Japan, she goes, he's not really alone because he's got me or something. No, I have that reversed.
Yeah, you do.
Let me
I think it's
let me take the correct version of that. In America, she goes, he's my burden because she's a woman, and that's the onus, I guess. But in Japan, she originally... Oh, my God, I'm still
switched it again.
Why do I get flipped to this?
Hey, Dan, did you know that the dub and the sub actually has a really interesting difference here? Where Misty
I did not.
In the dub... Misty in the dub...
Uh-huh.
What was the line? Fuck, I didn't write it down. Shit.
He's
In
not
Japanese,
really
she goes,
alone because he's got me. Meanwhile, Japan, she is a woman. Therefore, she just out loud goes, he's my burden.
And she is sworn to carry
that
her
one's
burdens.
more accurate.
Yeah. I mean,
She's
is
like,
10.
I am not letting this motherfucker die until he buys me a new bike.
Also, his mom might show up and wrench my head off because she's built like Mr. X.
I do love how she and Melody have this moment. They lock eyes and like they have the "yeah, we're bad bitches" handshake, and then she
They
dives
do
in the
the
water.
sister check-in, and I
Yes.
lost it.
So good.
And we get to see Pikachu floating in the water, and all I could think of was Amy Hell and him going, Ash, death is a bitch. A stupid bitch.
Yeah, I had to roll that scene back a few times. I was like, yeah, sure is it. Sure, I'm back here in AMV.
Tracy ropes him in? Tracy did a thing?
Well, no, Misty had a rope tied to herself. So anyone could have been Tracy in this situation and pulled them to shore.
You're like, Tracy did a thing, but for a moment, can we appreciate anyone could have done that thing?
Yeah, Slow King could have done it. Melody could have done it. Anybody.
Uh-huh.
Misty could have pulled Bulbasaur off of Ash's belt and gotten it done twice as fast.
I mean, that's just true, yeah.
It's like, yeah,
Misty
it's
could
like,
have brought any of her Pokemon out of their Pokeballs and just had them swim him back to shore without her getting wet and freezing her entire ass off.
Yeah.
I still am not convinced that water is actually cold. The surface of the water has been frozen in some places by Articuno, but everything else is just on fire.
yeah. I think it's mostly. I think the water's frozen because of Articuno, and that asshole was dropping ice bombs all over everything.
That is true. They rope him in. Ash gets up. He walks up to the main shrine. He's enjoying his slow walk. Ho-Oh says, hey, what's up, Ash? And Ash is like, I'm busy. And he keeps walking. He puts the ball into the shrine. It's okay. Ho-Oh understood. Anyways, Surge, the energy drink, flows forth from the shrine.
That's literally why I was thinking of Ecto Cooler.
I was like, shit, it's Surge. So when you said it was Ecto Cooler, I'm like, hell yeah, it's 2 different 90s green drinks.
See, I just screamed, why is the water going nuclear?
It's just Bane's juice. Melody plays the song. The birds are sleepy now. I'm thinking about Link's Awakening and Earthbound because the various shrine pillars around her light up to the song. Everything's turning green, literally the horizon. Everything on God's green earth is becoming green except for a decent color of green dual sense for aggro.
God, fuck you.
I'm sorry, bud.
Oh, got it. That hit my brain sideways.
Lugia's like, okay, Ash, you can write on me for the credits. Let's go. The Japanese soundtrack here is pretty cool and triumphant as there's a moment of like, we did it, everyone. And it incorporates the ocarina a little bit more. But in America, it's just a different take on the same tone, basically. But a little bit less.
And it mostly drowns it out.
Yeah, and the ocarina
kind of
just
drowns out the whole thing.
I think the ocarina only comes in to just be like when they literally show it on screen. It's like, dude, like really quietly in the mix.
Meanwhile, the pillars are still glowing while you have like this horn section completely drowning out this child.
Yeah,
and it's the funniest shit.
It's an interesting soundtrack choice, which we get one more of. But remember all those Pokemon on the ice? Did they all know surf? I think some of them had to have drowned.
The Gyarados had swam out of there. It's fine.
All of them?
Those Gyarados are eating them down there.
Yes.
Like swarms of Magikarp just pulling Nidoqueens apart.
I was just writing the Lugia, just like, hey, are they okay? And he goes, well, we're not going to show that in the trailer. It's fine.
It's like, yeah, they're fine.
Pokemon are attuned to nature, child. If it is their will to die, it is their will to die.
Hitmonchan can swim just fine with his boxing glove hands.
Yeah, they act as floaties, didn't you know?
Can we talk about Lugia's rainbow?
Yeah, his little typhoon rainbow that does nothing.
His weird
and adds
water
nothing.
spout thing. You know who would have made a better rainbow?
Huh.
Ho-Oh.
Yeah, for real. I'm glad we're on the same page on this, Aggro.
Absolutely.
Genuinely.
It's like, I guess, but at the same time, you're like, you know who would draw a better diagram? Tracy Sketching. Stand aside, Oak.
You know who'd have a better line about never being somebody's boyfriend? Brock.
Yes. But newscast takes over and it says everything is normal. We can end the movie.
Yes.
Lugia leaves. Ash's mom yells at him, says she could have lost him and he's her whole world. She doesn't visit him even once. I don't
Next
know.
time, go on an adventure closer to the work, closer to home.
Yeah.
She just like she's half out of her mind and she's saying complete nonsense.
Yes.
And this 10-year-old boy is standing there, unable to process or know how to handle his mother in absolute hysterics. I guess I'll try.
And then she goes, every day you're my hero. And he goes, thanks, Mom. Oak and Ivy, in one of the funniest, weirdest things in the movie, just up, start screaming, and run away and go, we got to get home to Pallet Town. I'm like, what is going on there? What is your deal? Is everything okay?
We hate these islands.
They spent, what, 2 minutes here?
Yes.
Yeah, and if I could leave, I would too.
Yeah, I mean, if like this is where Oak sent the GS ball. He doesn't want to be anywhere near whatever's inside that thing.
So we get to the main shrine, and on the main shrine, the Team Rocket crawls up, and they're like, oh, we're fine, but, you know, nobody really appreciated us. And Slowking goes, no, I think somebody appreciated you, and looks at the perspective, and they go, oh, good, I guess the bad guys are finally good guys. And then, what is it? Jesse goes, so then we're not bad. That's good. What if the boss finds out? That's bad.
bad.
We'll start our own team.
That's
good.
good.
But we don't got money.
That's bad.
Then we'll just steal them. That's good? Or is that bad? Oh. And then that's it. That's the end of the movie, except for the very upbeat licensed song for Japan. And in America, they have the original song, Power of One, by Donna Summer, which harshly transitions into Pokemon.
Yeah.
Which harshly transitions into Flying Without Wings by Westlife.
Yeah. It sure was still the Attitude Era when this movie came out.
It was an interesting sequence for the credits this time. And that is Pokemon the movie 2000, specifically The Power of One.
Why does it have so many subtitles?
Well, because obviously Pokemon the movie 2000 is two compartments.
God, the Power of One opening was so fucking jank.
It has like a weird DBZ like Japanese name for the movie too.
Oh, you mean
Revelation Lugia.
yes, the Pocket Monsters, the movie, the Phantom Pokemon, Lugia's explosive birth.
Hell yes.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for us to hit the one that's like, if anyone could do it, Pikachu can.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Where's the clash of the 10 billion power war?
Well, guys, it's time we get to our segments. First segment, this is obviously a Gen 2 movie.
Is it?
Is it?
Gen
It
2
is-
was out.
Here's the problem.
I mean, Lugia's in it.
Of total representation of Generation 2 Pokemon, there are 3. Because it's, what is it, Meryl?
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 Oh, you mean Peekaboo?
Yes.
I made that
Yep.
joke before the recording, yes. We're damaged, yes. Slowking and Lugia. And that's it. So we are...
Togepi.
Oh, yeah, this Togepi. That's right. Ugh, Togepi. Okay, so here's the question. I need a stance from everyone on this. Togepi is like the most cringe, them trying to force a Pokemon that is the new Pikachu, right? Here's why I ask. Most Pokemon do not keep the same name in every region. Pikachu is one of the few that do, where they're just like, that's the one. Back then, especially.
Okay.
Is Togepi them trying to make a second Pikachu?
I always figured it was really complimentary in mascot design. Like
I
it-
never got that vibe.
Yeah, I also didn't get
I
that.
think it was them trying to come up with something like to be important in the future.
They're like, when they see Togekiss, they're going to lose it.
This was the era of like the GS Bowl where it's like, this is going to be something, I guess.
What's
We
in
don't
the
know, and
mystery
it's like-
egg? Togekiss.
It's like we don't know.
Yeah, and this could have been what made Misty more important and relevant going forward, and instead
holding an egg.
instead they went with nothing.
So for our first real segment, we need to rate this on a whimsy scale. 1 to 10. Let's go ahead and start with Bob. Bob, how much whimsy was there?
I feel like there was a lot of whimsy in this movie. Like, there wasn't anything that really felt dangerous, even though it was allegedly world-ending
Except for
events.
Except for the 7th gen turret segment where Ash is on the fucking sled and Lugia is blocking lasers coming at his face.
Yeah, so other than that scene, it was pretty whimsical. I'm going to give it a 7.
Wow.
That's high.
Yeah, we're going to go to Chris next. Chris?
I'm only going to give this a 5. This didn't... I feel like pretty much the whole movie was whimsy up until maybe the halfway point, and then it became a little bit less whimsical. I'm sure there's going to be at least one of these movies that is just like that was like chugging a Kirby game. There's so much whimsy.
I mean, Shaman gets a movie eventually, right? That has to be the one.
That's one of the few I've seen, yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, if there's one that's going to have that, I feel like that's it. Aggro.
I'm giving this one an 8 easy, and that's only because, as Chris said, you've got to future-proof it for what's out there. This movie has a chosen one narrative. You've got to go collect some bullshit. There's a festival. It's basically the never-ending story. This fucking kid gets a luck dragon that talks.
That's true.
It's got whimsy coming out of his fucking ass.
Yeah.
Ass whimsy. Shibuya.
You guys are rating it way high. I feel like it's bookended by whimsy, but like the chosen one narrative goes from being whimsical into, oh shit, the entire world gets fucked if he doesn't do this right. On top of the fact that Team Rocket makes a fucking suicide pact. This is a 5, and it goes no higher for me.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with Shibuya a bit here. I don't think of whimsy when I see Ash drowning. There is whimsy in this film. There's definitely way more than the first film. But I don't feel like I'm being carried away on the wind by the whimsy of this film. I'm going to go ahead and give this a 6. It has a decent chunk of whimsy, but I don't think it consumes it. Like, on average, I don't think it's very whimsical. Next, we move on to the Dex check. How good is the representation of Pokemon in this movie? Scale of 1 to 10. You tell me. Are they knocking it out of the park this time, or is it just like 10 dittos? Not that I wouldn't watch a film about 10 dittos. I
At a
would
certain
really love to.
threshold, all dittos becomes really great.
Oops, all dittos. We're going to go ahead and start with Shibuya this time.
It's not nearly as good as Mewtwo Strikes Back. I think we can all just agree on that flat out. There's no wiggly, tough tier Pokemon in this movie.
Yeah.
Oh.
The Gen 2 rep is minimal at best. The Gen 1 rep, it's Gen 1 rep, who cares? There's a lot more Pokemon that you wouldn't expect to see. Like, I hear about this end of the world narrative in the middle of the ocean, and I don't expect to see Hitmonchan standing on a cliff, but it's not anything to write home about, so I'm giving it a 5.
Okay. We go next to Chris.
I'm also going to give it a 5. Just in my head, there's so many shots of like swarms of Pidgeys in this movie. Just so many. It's like all the flying Pokemon are coming, and it's like there's a big bunch of, there's 1,000 Pidgeys and a Butterfree. It's like it's all the water Pokemon. It's 1,000 Magikarps and a Lapras.
Ooh.
Here's 2 Golducks.
Yeah, I'm actually gonna give it a little lower. I'm gonna give it a 4. I feel like it doesn't do enough for me for you to cut to an entire ocean and just be like, look at all these Pokemon. And it's like, they aren't even that neat of Pokemon. You're not cutting over there to show me some really... You're not cutting over there to show me some real freaks, right? You're just showing me, here's your bog standard, these Gen 1 Pokemon. I'm like, okay, could they be a part of the film? And they're like, they could be a part of the trailer. And I'm like, thanks. We go next to Bob.
Yeah, this sucks as far as this goes. It's like a 3. We hardly get any activity out of Pokemon outside of the main cast, which is only Pikachu, it feels like.
Togepi was there.
Yeah, like none of the other Pokemon, they're just in that ocean. They don't get to actually interact with the plot. So it's the 3 legendary birds, Pikachu, and then Charizard for a few minutes. Like, this is awful.
Misty spends the movie carrying a literal egg. Talking about how men are her burden.
Yes.
Yeah, that's we don't have time to unpack that.
So let's just throw it all out.
Aggro.
I'm with Bob on this one. This straight up sucked. The fact that this is our Gen 2 movie and nobody's here. We throw out everybody's lineup from the show and then we put them all back in their balls and they don't do anything. I mean, like, the birds are here and that's cool. 2 of them are awesome. And 2 of them suck.
Wait, which 2 are awesome?
So yeah, I'm gonna give it a 3.
Next segment, gun check. Could this have been better solved with the gun? I'm gonna be bold. Yes. I think if you fire a big enough gun designed to kill, I think you could solve this movie. I don't think this ice gun was a good match. You can escape being frozen, especially these elemental birds. I don't think they can escape being shot to death.
I was going to say, like you're arguing that the collector should have shot the legendary birds to death.
Yeah, does he just want to taxidermied or something?
Oh, no!
Oh, God.
That is a horrifying mental image.
How does that even work with Moltres?
I don't know.
I think you need to get a separate sculptor to come in with glue or something and make that.
like hook up a gas line and just...
Okay, taken another way, this movie could have been better solved with a gun. What if you just shot the collector?
When?
Yeah, that's what I was
that
thinking.
would solve the problem pretty fast.
If anybody who'd had to build this airship had been bold enough,
Yes.
we could have avoided this entirely.
Yeah, if like that thing was not a weekend project. Several governments had to know he was building this thing.
Years of work at least.
But yeah, nobody in this movie interacts with the collector until he's already done the damage.
Okay.
If you kill the collector halfway through the movie, nothing changes.
I think not all the way. Like when the crew is on the ship, I think if one of them had just like pulled a gun and shot his ass before he started really fucking with Articuno, we might have had time to reverse this.
There's no crew. He made this entire thing with AI.
Yes, and his AI could be bold enough to pull the trigger. There are guns on board. We know this.
We're going to need some
Yes,
hard,
the ice gun.
hard stances, Bob.
Absolutely not. There's no chance for him to die. There's nothing that's gained from him dying. Killing the birds will probably just cause the same problem.
I think humanity has a lot of gain from him dying, but I digress. Aggro.
I believe that, yes, this problem could have been more efficiently solved with a firearm.
Shibuya.
Yes. Just flat out yes.
Okay, and Chris.
Yeah, I'm gonna also say yes.
I still say you guys need to place a person who can actually kill the collector that from this movie. Confirmed.
What if Dr. Samuel Beckett got sent back in time?
Well, what if instead of doing this, he had realized how hollow his life was and done it himself?
That's true. That's true.
It's entirely possible.
Also, this could be solved with a gun from the angle of he just gets into collecting guns and doesn't do any of it.
Where was Mewtwo while all this shit was going down, by the way?
He's on his clone island.
Yeah,
We
he doesn't
established
care.
this.
Pokemon coming from all over the world because of how in tune they are with nature.
It cuts to Mewtwo on a fucking couch eating chips.
Yo, we're not in tune with shit.
That needs to be how one of these resolve. Mewtwo just shows up and is like, "Who woke me up? I was trying to sleep."
Mewtwo is just beers.
Yes!
I
That
was
would be the
thinking
best, actually.
all I was thinking was the Super Broly film, and he just shows up like fucking Super Gogeta or whatever, and just stops the enemy legendary with one hand. No, calm down. We move next to our MVP segment. Who was the MVP of this film? I am gonna let Chris go first.
This is a little bit hard because a lot of people actually did things in this.
It's like when a failed team just barely wins in Overwatch.
Isn't this only for Pokemon though? Because
Yes.
Pokemon don't do much in this
This
movie.
is the most
Yes.
valuable Pokemon.
Yes, it is the most valued Pokemon.
Oh God, I guess Pikachu, because Pikachu led Ash to the plot orbs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nobody else did much in this.
Pikachu's literally the detective vision. He's the dead space, like a line that guides you towards the goal.
You got to follow Pikachu to the hidden Pikachu shrines. Collect the Pikachu medallions.
If you click on the right stick, Pikachu will go to the next story objective.
Do you get a really well animated shot of petting Pikachu after you go to the Pikachu shrine?
Oh, yeah, big chubby cheeks and everything.
Great.
Hell yeah.
Oh, thank God. I'm gonna go next. I think Lugia is the most valued Pokemon. You know, the movie's about him. He's so important. He solves the problem by flying Ash one time and blocking some lasers another time. He also has the gift of English speech to go, Ash, you have to solve this, which is like solving the problem yourself. Sending a 10-year-old to go do it. That's kind of the same thing. Bob?
I'm going to give it to Slow King. He pointed at the shrine where Ash needed to put the orbs.
It's true. That could have taken Ash a while to figure out.
That is true.
He might have taken it maybe 5 more minutes, and that would be devastating.
Might have just missed it entirely.
Doubtful. We have Melody there explaining everything.
Okay, fair point.
Aggro.
I'm going to hit you, kid, with some knowledge here. I'm going to throw it to my main man, Bulbasaur, and I'm going to tell you why. When they're on the collector's ship and they're trying to break Zapdos out of the squares, and everybody's throwing the lightning and the fire and the water and all that shit, Bulbasaur is the only one to recognize that no, special attacks aren't working. So what does he do? He whips out the Vine Whip, the physical, and starts actually getting shit done and breaking those squares.
Wow. Incredible stuff from Bulbasaur this time. Shibuya, who is your MVP?
I think it just has to be Pikachu because there is an entire scene where Ash is told that he is the chosen one and has to do this, and he reacts like an actual 10-year-old breaking down crying like, I'm not strong enough. And then Pikachu is his hype man in his ear telling him, no, you have to do this. You can do this. Your ass catch him, damn it. You can get that shit done.
Also, he has
And without him, I think this would have been over.
Also, he has that beautiful speech while Ash is drowning.
It is so important that he just goes, Misty, help! Help! Pika-Pig!
Next segment is a huge part of the greater mystery of Pokemon Go to the movies. We're trying to get to the bottom of this. Is Ash in a coma? Bob,
Absolutely.
you think this movie points towards it?
Yeah, no, this is the movie where Ash is the chosen one. He has 2 girls swooning over him, and he saves the whole world. Yeah, he's in a coma. This ain't real.
I'm sorry, Bob. You just sound jealous. You just wish you were the chosen one and 10 and having 2 girls swoon over you. Aggro?
This is the most coma movie possible. Like, I was not fucking around with that comparison to The Neverending Story. Yeah. Like, the moment Lugia pops up, you're like, oh my god, he's dying. that fucking sleek fist chicken is here to take that child's soul to heaven.
Shibuya.
Absolutely. This kid played Ocarina a week before he was in the accident. This is a chosen one narrative. There are multiple Pokemon that speak using English. The end of the world is upon us and only he can stop it. And some rich douchebag who is probably his stepdad in real life is a stand-in here. Yes.
He's a collector. I don't even know what that means.
He collects baseball cards.
Or guns.
Yeah.
Chris, what do you think?
Absolutely. We got the chosen one narrative. We have multiple Pokemon talking who have no reason to be able to talk. We have Team Rocket refusing to die no matter how long they are underwater. We have the world ending that Ash has to stop, which could be some metaphor for, he has to not, he's flatlining. They have to do something. This is I'm willing to bet we will not have a more coma-centric Pokemon movie for a while.
Yeah, I think that's entirely likely. Yeah, I have to agree. The facts really do point towards it. There's also so much Ash was a tourist and went to Florida once, which fueled part of this energy to this movie, that I have to agree. All the facts are pointing towards it. He's most definitely in a coma. At least that is what this movie is pointing us towards. Who knows what the others
all the
will
Pokemon from all over the world are just Pokemon from his hometown.
Yeah.
That's why it's all Gen 1. We did it. We cracked the code.
Next segment is Arceus Ex Machina. How conveniently did this movie wrap up by an act of God at the end? Was this just the most ludicrous? And then, of course, in just the right place at just the right time, this happened and everything was fine. Everything's gone back to normal now. It's okay. This is on a scale of 1 to 10. We're going to start with Shibuya.
I don't think there's a lot of Deus Ex Machina in this movie. Like, yes, it's a little contrived, but it's just a chosen one narrative at its core. It's not that bad. And the inciting incident wrapping itself up isn't really like for the sake of the show. It's just, it's a movie plot. So I'd give it like a 2. I have to leave room for like really, really like, no, this isn't Ex Machina stuff, but a 2.
Okay. Aggro.
Yeah, I mean, the mechanisms for how to fix this problem are well established early on. Like, it seems to be part of how the planet works. So while it's not really clear how the 3 legendary birds stop fighting fixes the planet, it's not really clear how them fighting fucked it up in the first place. So I'm gonna give it a 3 only because it did literally involve a like god figure coming up out of the ocean to be the third act of this movie.
Bob.
They really they do the thing, and it does exactly what it said it would, and everything's perfectly fine afterwards. I don't know if that's good or bad.
I mean, you've basically described the experience of using computers before Windows 10 existed. So I don't know.
I guess I'll just give it a completely neutral score of 5.
Okay. All right. I'm gonna give this a 3. Main reason is, it's not anything especially contrived at the end. It's all laid out in the beginning, as was said. Really, that the main thing that brings it up to a 3 for me is the moment that the entire Earth turns green, all into the horizon, healing the ocean, and all this stuff. All those Pokemon that were standing there are elsewhere now and fine, probably, I guess. And the newscaster goes, "Everything is back to normal," even here in Pallet Town. That's the main reason. By and large, this doesn't really register as that. Chris, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, this didn't feel very Deus Ex Machina-y. It was just like, Ash, if you do these things, this will happen. And then he does. I'm more concerned with how many prophecies Ash will be the center of by the time we're at the end of this endeavor.
Can't be that many, right?
We're going to get to the end, and Ash is going to be the chosen one of 15 different cultures, none of which were in contact with each other.
Yeah, it's like every culture has a god figure. Where did that come from, huh?
It came from Ash.
Ash has been walking this world ageless and undefeatable for thousands of years.
Oh my God. As Ash.
And every couple of years, he gets hit in the head and forgets everything.
He has a new mom adopt him, yeah.
He was cursed by the old gods that he had to forget every 80 years or so. So it's fine.
So what score would you give it, Chris?
3.
And we get to our rating segment. Based on the conversation earlier, the fact this has 4 total Gen 2 Pokemon, and the entire movie is focused on a Gen 2 Pokemon, I'm sad to say we've shifted into Gen 2, which means one thing. We now have to rate this on a scale of 1 to 251.
Oh, God.
Okay.
Oh, no.
That doesn't change my ranking, unfortunately.
Oh, no!
It just makes it a little more unfortunate.
You looking at the movie, inflation's a bitch.
It sure is. Gags? I'm sorry, inflation does not change my joke.
Bob.
Oh, man.
Just do some advanced maths in your head.
Right? I'm going to give it a 56. This movie was a lot worse than the last movie. The main villain basically was non-existent. None of the Pokemon did anything cool, and everything wraps up super conveniently.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, I didn't think this was very good at all.
Okay. Well, next we're going to go to Chris.
I thought this was all right. I'm going to give it a 102. Because it was really pretty, but then it's like, man, you didn't need the 30 minutes of a turret segment at the end on the sled.
I'm sorry, you said it was really pretty, and I clipped out that Brock's voice line for the first movie, and she's really pretty, but really small. And I'm just damaged now. Okay, 102 from Chris. We're gonna go to Aggro next.
In an interesting twist of fate, this is going to get the same hard number score that I gave the first movie.
Wow.
A 137.
Okay.
Just got to adjust for inflation. It's really, really beautifully animated. End of list.
Okay, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, my number is also ending up tragically close to my first number, but not the exact same one. It's going to end up at a 122 out of 255. There's a lot of neat things in this movie. It is not a good story, and it gives me Floridian PTSD really hardcore in a few areas.
Oh yeah, like when it does newscasts that feel like hurricane reports.
Oh, God, yeah.
They have that one guy out there, and he's just standing on the frozen water.
That one guy was Tracy Sketching.
The weather out here is really bad. Lightning bolt hits him.
Misty, it doesn't make any sense that you said you were born in this house and you'll die in this house.
Oh, yeah. But I think the animation quality's neat. I like a lot of the musical choices. I do think there's a lot to enjoy about this film. It's only slightly better than the first, in my opinion, because the flow is a little bit better. Shibuya, what did you think?
I think it's much better animated. That's not even a question. They have a lot of money in some of these shots. The big moments are pretty good. I think the story's weaker than the first, in my opinion, just because I was less invested in a generic Chosen One narrative than I was in it's Attack of the Clones, but it's Pokemon. Let's go. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to end up giving it a 98 because that Krabby joke was really good and some of the dubisms were very funny.
Yeah.
But it does not compare to the first for me. It's just slightly lower.
Yeah, the animation, you have to know from our review and commentary of it that it is better than the first movie, because at no point did the discussion break down to, how does Ash walk like that? Why does that look so wrong? And oh boy, I love these CGI doors from Case Close interstitials. Anyways, that's going to bring the total sum of the score up to 515, significantly lower than the first movie, with an average of 103 out of 251. Divide that yourselves.
It's like a challenge every episode.
Can you assemble the puzzle that is what we thought of the movie? Well, that's going to do it for this time. I'll catch you all later. Yeah, that's my sign off now, and the rest of you just have to deal with that for several more episodes.
No, we're gonna workshop that.
Gotta catch us later.
What if I say I hope to see your monster balls later? Is that better?
Keep it, print it. That's good.
Put that shit on a shirt.
We've got the rights to put AC/DC on this thing, right?
Yeah. This month's GigaBoots videos were brought to you by the continued support of our executive producers, such as Esme, E. Lee Broyles, Star Falcon, Spaceman Spiff, Red Blaze 27, Brendan O'Sullivan, Burning Pepsi Man, Adam Admar, Cooper Tank, and Virmvarm. Thank you very much to our executive producers, and also these gamers. If you want to support GigaBoots so we can continue the content crunch, then head on over to patreon.com/GigaBoots today.